Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
And gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Into the chopper!
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
There's no crying in baseball!
To infinity and beyond.
Iron Man.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Film Code. My name is Phoenix Clouden, joined as always by the two greatest co-hosts in the world. We have fresh out of bed and maybe out of something else, Zach Sneef. Zach, how are you, sir?
Man, well, thanks for that intro. I'm doing fantastic. We're not going to talk about last night, but it was a fun night. So, yeah, I'm doing great.
I bet. All right.
Yeah.
Also joined by our season 3 code-breaking champion. Brandon, sir, how are you?
Man, I am good, Phoenix. I'd like to throw in there. We should throw a little cut that in there. Towards the beginning. No, it is good to be back. It is good to be talking finally another movie in depth. We kind of just our last video we kind of just did just a quick summer wrap up. We just ran through just a bunch of different movies we saw throughout the summer. Some of us saw movies that others didn't, so we didn't really get to correlate other films that we would have liked to talk about. I think we forgot to mention that last week. So we're like, some of us didn't get a chance to catch Little Mermaid, some of us didn't watch The Machine. So like, there's a few films we missed here and there. But yeah, if you guys haven't listened to that video and you guys want to hear our thoughts of those films, please go watch our catch-up video and come back here. But yeah, all that to say, I am doing good, Phoenix. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I am incredible and especially shocked that I'm awake because I went and saw this movie at like 10 o'clock last night. Didn't get out of the theater till like 1:40 in the morning. Didn't get home till almost 2:30. And I'm up. I'm like wide awake. This is disgusting. So, but I'm very, very, very excited to talk about this movie. We are, of course, discussing the 7th installment in the Mission Impossible franchise, Dead Reckoning, Part 1. We got our crew back. Tom Cruise is back. We got Ving Rhames, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg. We're also joined this time by Hayley Atwell and was it Esai Morales? I have to check that one. Who plays Gabriel? And we also
Esai Morales.
Esai Morales, yeah. And we also get Palm Clemente as well. This is of course directed by this is the 3rd or 4th in the series, directed by Christopher McQuarrie. And this time, we also have Vanessa Kirby. How could I forget her? And this time we have Ethan and his team. They are taking on an AI weapon that is pretty significant, I would say. So, I had the amazing pleasure of watching all of the Mission Impossible movies before this one. So I literally had 6 movies to catch up on before watching this, and it was a thrilling experience. I must say.
It's shocking that you would do this for one film franchise, but not any others. Like Jurassic Park or Indiana Jones.
Absolutely not. Only do it for the good stuff, buddy. But yeah, so I finally got to see all of the Mission Impossible movies. Fantastic journey, and landed right in time to see Dead Reckoning Part 1. Oof, I have a lot of thoughts, but first I want to hear what you guys think. Brandon, why don't you start us off with your non-spoiler thoughts?
Yeah, man. Right off the bat, I just want to say huge, like I put this in my review in Letterboxd, huge props to Tom Cruise for being 60s, for being in his 60s,
yeah,
and still doing wild stunts like he's doing right now.
Yeah,
massive props. Like I don't see anybody else doing that. That's just wild. But like that's another thing I'm pulling from my letterbox reviews. Just like for me, I did what you did. I just marathoned all the Mission Impossible films like a week or two before this came out for the first time. Like I had seen Fallout, and I think I had seen Ghost Protocol because I didn't know. Like back when I was younger, when Ghost Protocol came out, I thought it was just it's one-off film. So I saw it, and then I'm like, cool, I'll go see Fallout in theaters. And then I watched the entire franchise the past couple weeks. The entire franchise itself is actually really good. Like even like listen, Mission Impossible 2 is not a good movie, but at the same time, it has some awesome moments to it. Just like Tom Cruise's stunt work, man. Just like when he's hanging off the side of the mountain and all that, it's just crazy. And then that knife sequence where he gets like that, where he gets like this close to his eye with the knife, that was real. That actually happened. Like, could you imagine had he gone like 1 inch like closer? That man would have lost his eye. That is like, if I was the camera guy, I'd be shaking. Like even if a stunt cameraman, I'd be like, oh god. But yeah, no. All I'd say, huge props to Tom Cruise still doing stunts in his 60s, and like even back then. But yeah, no. Leading up to this film, I like the hype for it wasn't really there because I knew an entire franchise had existed by this point. And for me, just the hype wasn't there until I went to opening night of Way of Water in IMAX, and they showed that like behind the scenes featurette of him pulling off the mountain stunt for real. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm invested. I want to go see this movie. Like, I need to go see this movie. So yeah, no, I keep saying all that to say, but all that to say, I was thoroughly invested and I was satisfied with this movie. It did what Across the Spider-Verse wasn't able to and gave us an ending.
Not the shade thrown, bro.
We are already gonna
hardcore shade thrown
on a bad note. So Zach, what did you think?
Oh man, I was really happy with what I saw. Tom Cruise, man, like Brandon said, his stunt work is just you can't find that anywhere. Like it's just unbeatable. Like, and overall going into the movie, I wasn't really sure. Like, even though I saw like the stunt, I was okay, but like that's one stunt. Like, let's see like the story and like how that's gonna go. And I was actually pretty impressed. I thought that the storyline was actually really well written, and they did a great job of it. So I was happy with what I saw going into it. I wasn't expecting like a lot, but I came out like very overly satisfied with that movie.
Yeah, so let me just check here. Okay.
I'd also like to mention, speaking of Tom Cruise stunt work, I've seen him, shout out to the Cinema Chat. We were having this discussion yesterday. A lot of people were saying Keanu's stunt work is, he's just a better stunt man. Listen, Keanu Reeves is great, but like, I don't know if you know this, Phoenix, or I don't even know if Zach knows this, that sequence in Rogue Nation where he's taking off in the plane, like he's holding on to it as it takes off, that was real.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, like when I found out that was real, I was like, no freaking way.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is insane. He's absolutely insane. But man, so I just checked. So it is the third one done by Christopher McQuarrie, but the next one will be his fourth because he's also doing that one. But he did Rogue Nation, he did Fallout, and he's done this one. I would argue 3 of the top Mission Impossible movies belong to Christopher McQuarrie. But this movie was excellent. Like it was excellent. Especially because I got to see it in IMAX. So like seeing it on that giant screen, you get the full like effect of it. There are certain scenes where it's like, this thing rocks. Like just being able to see it in that level, it works so well. And like you can tell they had that in mind when designing a lot of these set pieces. Like I don't want to jump ahead, but like there's a particular scene in an airport that is fabulous. Okay, like fabulous. There's a scene in Rome where they're driving. Like I'm like, how they conducted that, shot that. Oh, that had to take days, maybe weeks. Like, because it's such a huge, huge piece, and it goes on for so long. I think they do an amazing job of that. I will say, there are some issues that I have with this movie, like small little issues, but they do kind of bother me. But uh, other than that, overall, man, I was just blown away. Like, and I said this, the other day on Twitter. It's like, um, Mission Impossible has to be the first franchise that I've ever sat through where there genuinely isn't a bad movie. Like, there's some movies that aren't as good as others, but there's not a bad movie in this.
I completely agree with you. Like, I
Yeah.
completely agree with you. Like, Mission Impossible 2, like, it is not good, but like it's not the most like it's a very forgettable movie.
Yeah.
It has some great aspects to it still.
Yeah. I'm like, I mean, like, I wouldn't put it up against, like, another top action franchise or whatever.
Mhm.
But, like, the series as a whole, I would probably take it over just about anything. Because it's just, like, to me, and the crazy part is, to me, it's not even just the action that puts it over. It's the fact that these missions are so intricate and so, like, well developed that you're like, whoa, like I've seen a bunch of other like spy thriller kind of movies and they have very thin plots, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, hey, you got to stop this one guy because he's got this, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. But with these movies, they're like, hey, not only do we have to stop this guy because they have this, we have to get this, retrieve it, find out why they want it. You know what I'm saying? There's other agencies involved, there's other people involved. It's black market dealings. It's a whole idea, and they're very fully realized. And like, to get all of that and to keep that going for so long, I mean, that's just a testament to incredible writing, incredible vision. And I dug it, man. Like, this whole movie, I had a ball with it.
Yeah, man. So should we break the seal of spoilers here?
I think it is time. Yes.
Let's do it. All right, everybody. This is officially your official spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Spoiler warning. So if you guys have not seen the film, pause here, go see the film, come back. And yeah, let's get into it.
All right. So
there was in the very beginning of the film. So I went to go see this with Jeremy and my buddy Trent. And as soon as the movie started and we started seeing the submarine, my friend looked to me and was like, he made a joke about this. He's like, did you know that like that they're going so far into the next one that they're deciding to go explore the Titanic? And we just laughed it off as a joke. And then at the end of the film, they're actually going to deep sea to find something in the ocean. And as the camera kept zooming in on the submarine, I just see my friend with his hand over his mouth trying so hard not to laugh.
It's not funny. Oh, it's not funny. But I get what you. But like, so, like, yeah, we kick off with the submarine. I have no idea what's going on here. I guess they were stealth, and then someone else entered their vicinity, tried to attack them. But it turns out, I guess it was just
it was the entity. Yeah,
it was the entity playing a trick on them, making them fire one of their torpedoes, and then the torpedo came back and hit them. It was actually kind of genius. So, like, basically the idea, so the entity is a real thing. Like, it's an AI that went rogue on its own. So, like, okay, because I thought somebody else had gotten control of it, maybe remotely, and made it, you know what I'm saying, do that. But basically, it's just erratic. and it chose to go off on its own. Which is dope. I'm like, okay, that's a bit dope. And especially because we are in an age talking, I mean, we're literally what, day 3 of an actor's strike over artificial intelligence being used improperly. So like, yeah, you really couldn't have planned this better. Like so I thought it was a genius concept to have. Came out at the exact right time. Again, this is why I say I really enjoyed this movie because yeah. But on top of that, you got a great actor as our villain. Esai Morales, is that it?
Yeah, Esai Morales.
Esai Morales as Gabriel is probably, I want to say, top 2 or 3 Mission Impossible villains for me. Yeah, because dude is calculating, frightening, authoritative, manipulative. He's good. Like, and he's very scary. And I think it's just the fact that he's so calm that drives so much of his dialogue that works. And like, yeah, so definitely one of my favorites.
As soon as I saw him in the trailer, because I know him from Ozark. As soon as I saw him from the trailer, I'm like, this man is gonna be like top tier Mission Impossible villain. Like, I haven't even seen the franchise yet, and I already know. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman and Esai Morales are neck and neck right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's no argument there. But no, going back to Esai Morales, apparently Tom and Esai have been friends since they were like 19 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, which is great because bringing him onto this film was the perfect choice. But like, I'm glad Esai is finally getting noticed in this, like, the world of film, because I don't think he's really done much post Ozark, and he was great Ozark. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he'll be in part 2.
Yeah. So I think honestly, my favorite part of the whole thing, I think overall, as far as the story goes, that my favorite part would be like the whole thing with the AI. Like, I think like they did a really good job with portraying like an AI like as an actual villain, and not like a weird like or tacky way. Like, because like with that you can go like so far into it where it's like it's very sci-fi, and it kind of is a little bit, but it's realistic. Like, it wasn't blown out of proportion or anything like that. And it shows like the depth of how smart AI can be. And I think they did such a good job with that. I love that whole part about the movie. Like, just the way that they made the villain, I think, is my favorite part. Like how it's just this, like, what really AI could actually be, how dangerous it could be.
One of my favorite scenes is when, because especially we've been seeing throughout this franchise, like how they, you know, take over people's identities and like mimic their voice, whatever. So I thought it was so cool that at one point the AI takes over and it copies Benji's voice and leads Ethan away from where he's supposed to be. So I just thought that, like, it's like we've had this long time of them, you know, getting one-ups because of that, and then to
now it's
lose
outsmarting them,
right? It's thrown on them. So I thought that was just excellent, and I agree. Like, it definitely could have gone into like fiction. You know what I'm saying? It could have gone into fiction where you're like, okay, it's starting to get a little maybe supernatural or like just too unrealistic. But I love that they kept it fairly simple. Like, you can't be on digital anything because this thing will be able to find you and you know what I'm saying, and take over. And yeah, and it uses your skills against you because it's learned so much about you. I thought that was brilliant. Like, really, really good stuff. So let's talk about specific scenes because there's so many great
I-
freaking scenes in this movie.
I want to get the airport sequence so bad.
Yes, let's start there. The airport sequence is by
That was
far
amazing.
was so freaking good. Oh
Like,
my god.
Everybody's praising the train scene, and don't get me wrong, the
Train's
whole
great.
train sequence is freaking awesome. Personally, for me, the airport sequence takes the cake. I love this sequence so much. Just from the pacing of it, the editing, the cat and mouse of Ethan with the FBI agents or the CIA agents. So good. Just there are just so many moments where I'm like, I can't believe they thought of that.
One of my favorites is when they're looking for him and they can't find him, and he's literally on the roof running right behind.
He's like, he could be anywhere right now.
It was brilliant. It was so good. But yeah, you're right. Like the cat and mouse aspect of it, like how they're like digitally putting his face on random strangers, making them go to those places, just throwing them off, man. And it plays so well. You got then you throw in, Hayley Atwell being a thief, stealing the key. And then you have, the bomb that's there that they have to solve. It's all like, talk about like ratcheting up the tension every single moment throughout this film, like throughout just this scene, right? And all it is really is setting up the players and the plot and what we're after. That's what they're doing in this scene. But the way they do it and the way that they use like all these characters and this setting and this environment to create all of those it's extraordinarily well done writing. Very well done writing.
It picked up like right away too with the desert scene.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. I completely forgot about that desert sequence.
Yeah. They wasted no time getting you involved in this movie, and I love that. But they did in like a very natural way where it didn't feel like it was forced. Like, oh, you have to, they're like throwing all this stuff at you. Like, it didn't feel like that at all. It was very natural the way they did it.
See, what I love about the airport sequence is like if it was like earlier time Mission Impossible, that would totally be a third act somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Like without Ethan Hunt like escaping the cops or whatever, or the FBI or CIA. I keep forgetting what faction they're part of.
I think they're CIA.
Okay. But like that would totally be a third act back in the day of like them trying to get the key from each other. Gabriel showing up, he would have had a bigger role, but it's so great to see just how much dedication and time is just put into put into these movies, man. Like, because not every movie does that nowadays, and it's great.
I totally didn't realize this, but and I should have. I don't know why it totally left my mind. But one of the CIA agents that's chasing him is Greg Tarzan Davis, who was Coyote in Top Gun Maverick. I didn't even realize that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, the other one, he was the cop in Joker that was chasing Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
And it's they had a little Agent Carter reunion because he was in Agent Carter with Hayley Atwell.
Ah, nice. Yeah, and it also has Charles Parnell in this movie, who was his superior, one of his superiors in Top Gun Maverick as well. The guy who's like, the one who was somewhat on Maverick's side when he was like, I think the captain's asking a rhetorical question. That guy. So yeah, a lot of Top Gun love in here. Some, yeah, but that's cool. I didn't even realize that. That's amazing.
Yeah, but man, this whole airport sequence, I love when what is his name again? Simon Pegg's character. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Oh,
Benji. I thought it was for some reason I had like Gingy in my head. Benji, man, like when he finds the bomb and he's having to like, and what is the other guy's name? I'm sorry.
Luther?
Luther, yes, thank you. Cut that. All right. But yeah, when Luther's having to balance both Ethan and Benji's little missions here, like before us dive into this, I love like they all have dedicated screen time to this now. But when he has to keep switching back and forth, and then Luther's like, hey Ethan, I'm so sorry to bother you. What's the answer to this riddle? And they keep just going back and forth of just they're trying to disarm the bomb, but at the same time he's just trying to balance both missions. It's just so well like wrote out and storyboarded. I just like I knew from that sequence, I'm like, okay, this is getting 5 stars.
Yeah, like honestly, that airport sequence is top notch in terms of writing, execution, top notch. Yeah, we totally skipped over the desert scene, but like, yeah, like as far as like an action scene just to get you right into the movie, the pacing of it, I mean, brilliant. Like, we got the setting alone is just magnificent. Like, it's on the screen especially, but then like when that sandstorm was hitting, like I was genuinely like, man, like I feel like sand is in my eye. Like it's going so fast. I'm like, and then you got everybody shooting at each other. It just works so well. Like this movie is 2 hours and 24 minutes long or something, and I never felt the runtime. Mm-hmm. Like that's how much it just goes, right? It's paced so incredibly well because you get a scene like that's go all the time, and then I think that scene is intercut with the scene of them describing the entity to the director of intelligence. So like you have one scene that's full throttle all the way, and then you got another one that's like super slow crawling to a snail's pace, and yet it works so well because both scenes move the story forward. So it's just incredible.
Yeah. Like you brought up a great point about like not feeling the runtime. Like I remember when the movie ended because I didn't know how long this film was when I went into it. Movie ended, and I look at my watch. I'm like, is it really almost 11 o'clock?
Yeah.
I'm like, how?
That thing zooms and I swear, like I was like, even when because I'm like, maybe the movie started at like 11, right? So when I looked at my watch and it was 1:40, I was like, really? I'm like, what? Like we sat through that, like that's the whole movie. But yeah, because I'm like, it just goes, and it's so good, so good. And there are some moments, like we'll get to one of them. Actually, that scene where they're explaining the entity to the director of intelligence, that is one of those scenes where I have some slight nitpicks. And it's because of how, like, we go, like, the airport scene is, like, top tier writing. But this scene is, like, amateur hour. like kind of amateur hour. Like, why do we need 5 people explaining what the entity is? And why are they finishing each other's sentences and shit? Like, it was so weird. It would be like one person would say like 2-3 things, then the next person would pick up, then another person would. It's like what are we? Is this musical chairs? Why is everyone talking after each other in like harmony? Like this is so freaking weird.
I mean, to be fair, like AI is not really well known to people. Like, I mean, if I was sitting in a room, 5 different people, I too would be like, okay, explain this to me like I'm 5.
No, I totally get that. I just think it's the way it's written. Like, I feel like one person could have said, the bulk of the lines here. Another person could have chimed in a little bit later. Maybe somebody goes off of what they say to answer another question. But it wasn't like that. It was literally like, this is the entity and it does this. Oh, and also like, and it just kept going like, and this person adds another line, and this person has another. It just felt very like overly coordinated, like to me. That's at least that's how it read. That's how it sounded, and I was just like, I don't know. I feel like that could have been written a little bit better. It was just a
Mm.
little wonky to me. But that's a minor nitpick. Like
The Venice scenes were great too.
Oh yeah, dude. That entire car chase.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I-
The car chase
like-
was amazing.
I don't want to jump to the end real quick, but like my jaw dropped when Tom Cruise hopped off the motorcycle and like it's blurred out because you're seeing it through Hayley Atwell's concussion.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing it through Grace's concussion, and you just see a motorcycle plow two guys down. I'm like, no way.
Oh, okay.
But,
yeah. No, go ahead.
Dude,
I'll
that entire sequence is just choreographed so well. Like, see, something Indiana Jones did. They had like a three-way car chase.
Mhm.
This one
They talking about
actually,
the newest one?
I'm talking about like Indiana Jones having a three-way car chase. This
Yeah.
one was like a
Yeah,
four.
like, you talking Dial of Destiny, or you talking?
I'm talking Dial of Destiny. When they're chasing after Voller, and you have the mafia going after them. It was just an okay chase.
Yeah.
Here is actually thought out and planned out well, and actually has reason for all these characters being after each other. You have the cops, or you have the French cops or the Italian cops.
Mhm.
You have the CIA. You have Palm Clementif, who works for Gabriel,
Mhm.
and you have Grace and Ethan.
Mhm.
That entire chase is just so good.
It was funny to me the way like they were trying to avoid the police while also like trying not to get rammed by Paris, Palm Clementif, and then also trying not to get arrested by the CIA. And like I lost it when they got into the little yellow Fiat.
Oh my god,
yeah.
dude! When they got there, and then he couldn't start the car.
Like, man, we were dying in the theater, bro. That was just the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, when he was like, "Yeah, I just give me a minute."
And he hits the windshield wipers.
Oh man.
He said something like, "They update these things all the time. Just give me a second to figure it out."
I love the allegory of like an older Ethan Hunt who can't get the car started. I just think that's hilarious. Like she's very patient with she's like, oh no, yeah, sure, take your time. But yeah, I like that scene, the driving in that scene, like that's what I know took weeks to shoot.
Mhm.
I know that took weeks because like the driving in it is insane. You got at least 5 different cameras on each car. The stunts you have to pull off.
Do you think he really went down the steps?
I could totally believe it.
Oh, totally. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why not. If he's willing to jump off a mountain.
Yeah, it's like downstairs in a yellow Fiat backwards. That's Tuesday.
This is it's a Tuesday for me.
Yeah, but no, like that scene was great. But this does get to another one of my nitpicks. And this one I'm a little bit harsher on. I love Hayley Atwell. Okay? Make no mistake about it. Like Hayley Atwell is top tier. But her character was pissing me off this whole movie. Like right up until like midway point, she was literally getting on my nerves. It's like this guy saves you from I don't know, prison multiple times, stops you getting killed like at least twice, maybe 3 times, right? And you keep running from him. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why do you, what exactly are you, like, it was killing me. I'm like, this dude has saved your life, saved you from prison, from being arrested, from being killed, and you keep running away from him. Like, it's literally your fault that we lose Ilsa because you want to keep and running. Like, she pissed me off beyond reproach for like the first hour of this movie. I was like, dude, at this point I'm like, kill her. Like I'm like, shoot her in the head because she's pissing me off. Like she redeems herself, but damn it if she wasn't pissing me off the first hour. Like Jesus Christ.
I'd like to throw up in her defense.
Mhm.
I mean, you hardly know this person. Yeah, he's saved you he's got you out of a couple pickles here and there. But when you're literally about to get like shot down multiple times, it's a survival of the fittest. Like I wouldn't want to be like Zach, no offense, but if you and I like got into a shootout with somebody and like it was a matter of life or death, I'd be running away. So, I mean, in Grace's defense, I also agree. I would have gotten the hell out of there.
Like I agreed up to a certain point. Like at the airport, totally agree. Totally agree. Even at the police station, like, okay, fine, sure. But by the time you've been in the 20-minute car chase and this dude saved your life twice, like when she like leaves the car and she has him handcuffed to the wheel and a train is coming, I'm like, bro, like you don't know if he survives that. Like I would have like at that point I'd have been like, yo, F this chick, bro. Like she on some trash. Cause how, like really, like you would be dead by now. At least twice. Like
But also on Tom
interference.
Cruise's character's part, he keeps going after her.
Yeah, he's a little simp to in this movie. But I'm like, which I also didn't understand because I'm like, Rebecca, Ilsa is right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I think the way they have this written, and this is gets to my other complaint. I loved the relationship between Ethan and Ilsa. Uh, in both was it Ghost Protocol? Yeah, I think it was Ghost Protocol. No, it was Rogue Nation. In both Rogue Nation and Fallout, like their relationship is awesome. Like you can tell there's something there. You can tell that like they want to be together, and it seems like they're like ever since Julia, they're like we can't put Ethan with anybody. He's got to keep jumping around. You know what I'm saying? So it's like here's this great character that y'all paired him up with for 3 movies, making us think like we're gonna get there, and then you kill her. Like I'm like, why on earth would you do that? To me, that's one decision I did not like in this movie. Like completely did not like. Is I get it for the story, I get it for the stakes, but I'm like, I would have rather kept Ilsa, man. Like wholehearted.
Also, I didn't understand why they kept making Hayley Atwell's character such like a big tie to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like one of them dies. Like what really does he have that invested in her? Like, you know what I mean?
Like he just met her. He literally just met her. And like, don't get me wrong, I would instantly fall in love with Hayley Atwell too. But like after a certain point, you're like, dude, like
Between Elsa and her.
it's like I'm sorry, like I know Ilsa more. Like I'm like but yeah, it just ugh. I did not like that decision. I didn't like it. I want I don't understand why we had I mean, I get it for stakes. For stakes, you have to raise the stakes. Someone on your team has to go. But it just pained me that we lost someone that I feel like we were building a great relationship out of. Yeah. So, and I was just like, and just to introduce this character, literally in this movie, like I like before I started watching the franchise, I thought Hayley Atwell, this was maybe her second or third film in the franchise. Turns out no, like she's literally introduced in this movie. So I'm like, we're putting a new love interest in a movie with the previous love interest, and then we're gonna kill the previous love interest. I don't like that. And then on top of that, you like the new love interest for much of the movie is a dick. Like she's just making nonsensical decisions. Like when she kept running, I was like, okay, maybe there's a reason she keeps running, and we'll figure it out. Like maybe there's someone she's working for, or she's got some other entity in mind, or yeah, maybe it is just for self protection or whatever. But I'm like, after a certain point, you're like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that was irritating me. Her and those two characters, both of whom I love. I love the actresses and I love the characters, but that whole situation just irritated me to no end. And I would argue, while a great writing decision for the stakes, a poor writing decision for the character.
Right.
That's all I'd say about that.
No, I do kind of agree with that. Like, dude, I cried so much during her death. I was like, no, not
Right.
Elsa. I'm not really that much, but I like a little tear.
Right.
I was like, oh no. Yeah, I don't know why they kind of went with that. Maybe there's I don't know. Maybe she didn't want to keep doing the movies after that, or no,
Perhaps.
I could see that. So
Yeah. Maybe it was like a personal decision to leave it, but I hated it. I just hated it so much. But that scene where she fights Gabriel, that sword fight scene,
See,
beautiful. That's probably like the airport scene is number one. That fight scene is probably my number two favorite set piece of this movie, because it's just gorgeously shot. Like,
yeah,
you got the rotating camera too. Those beautiful shots.
it's so good. Oh my god! Plus the alley fight between
Yeah.
Paris and Ethan.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
Palm Clementine, man. Wow. Like, I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking, Mantis, really? But like, nah, she got skills. And like,
I didn't realize that was her at first.
Yeah, right.
Like I really did not realize that was her until like I think Brandon sent me something the day after. I was like, wait, Palm Clementine? I was like, wait, same person? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Quite a transformation. Like, so that's what
I
happened when she
liked
left
her,
the
you know,
garden.
I liked her character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was cold because she was like the silent killer, and she was
Yeah.
deadly. She was deadly. I
You
see.
think
Yeah.
he did those stunts?
I don't know. Something about being in a movie with Tom Cruise, I feel like you'd be like, I'll try at least one of them. like Tom's like, come on, like you can do one, right? Like, yeah. So I feel
Yeah,
like,
I'm curious to know, like, if she did
yeah,
do her stunts, because those were pretty insane. Like that alleyway scene was crazy.
that was because I'm like, you talking like a limited space to be able to move and then create a
Then
fight
you have
scene.
a camera somewhere in there.
Right.
Like, yeah, dude, it was insane. When that scene came out, I was like, how did they shoot this? Like,
Yeah, that whole sequence, like from the club to Ilsa's death, is like really, really gorgeously shot.
Mhm.
Like beautiful cinematography. The club scene is fantastic.
I love that they had the entity like as like the
As the background of
visual.
the
Yeah.
yeah, like just insane visuals. Vanessa Kirby as the White Widow, it's got to be one of my favorite characters in this entire franchise, because she's like both like deadly and dangerous, but at the same time like so goofy and like unserious, and I love that character. And like, there's a shot of her looking at Grace, like just the background, the clothes she's wearing, the eyes. It's like, ooh, like dude, she's so awesome. I love that character. I hope she comes back in the next one. I hope she comes back for the rest of this franchise. She's amazing. But yeah, like from that to the alley fight to the sword fight, it's just all like incredibly beautifully stylized It looks so good. Yeah, fantastic. Like when it comes to these set pieces that they have for all their action scenes, they outdid themselves. I'm not gonna lie, they outdid themselves. Like you got the airport scene, you got the desert scene, you got the club scene, the alley fight, the sword fight. We got a car race in Venice. Like all of it is big, but also just expertly shot and visually stunning.
I like how they write Luther off in this movie.
Smart.
By him being like, yeah, I need to go, like, I need to unplug from the world and go off the grid to try and find out what's in this drive. So that's still going for us to see what's going to happen in part 2. But now we get to the best third act I've seen in a while.
So yeah,
The train sequence, sir.
this train sequence, man. Oh man, which part? Like it's like it's so elaborate. That's the word that I have to use for this movie and for much of the Mission Impossible franchise is elaborate. Like there's so much detail and intricacy to even one moment in the film. Like this train sequence, it's got so many layers to it. It's got, you know, all of a sudden the director of intelligence is there, the IMF leader is there. We got, swap Vanessa Kirby there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ethan can't get on the train because dude,
Gabriel broke
the brakes, so it just keeps going. And like he's got to find a way to get on the train. Like there's so many different layers and aspects to it that is just hilarious and entertaining all together. And it's crazy. It's so crazy, so elaborate, and so well detailed. And then you get like the action. This third act is not my favorite of the Mission Impossibles, but I get why it's up there. Like, and just everything that goes into it, I thought was really good. Like which aspect of this train scene do you want to talk about?
Now let's start from the beginning.
Because we got, the setup is that Grace is supposed to go on the train
as the White Widow.
Yeah, pretending to be the White Widow, and figure out where the two keys, connect the two keys, and figure out who to give them to, who's the buyer, whatever, and what they unlock, that whole jazz. And Ethan is supposed to get on the train so that he can ensure her safety, make sure that they get off together or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But Gabriel's already on the train. He kills the conductor. He breaks the brake so that the train just goes. And that's just the setup. That's just the setup. And then we find the director's there, and he's trying to broker an ally with Gabriel, which that part I don't quite understand. Like,
It's Cary Elwes' character. I mean,
Right.
this is his role with every movie he's in. Like, with the
Yeah.
exception of Saw, he's always playing a double agent.
right. But
And
like,
I don't know if it's just a really weird typecast or just that's just always the roles he just randomly ends up in. But he's just always playing a double agent.
yeah, and like that I understand, but like I don't think I quite understood the conversation, and I may just have to rewatch it, to fully get the full grasp of it. But like, because I was confused because I'm like, we already got the IMF guy there, and he's dealing with White Widow brokering, the key, and then the director of intelligence is there to make an allyship with Gabriel.
Someone.
Yeah, for what exactly? Like I'm pretty sure like somebody could explain it to me, but I was a little bit lost on what exactly he was doing there.
Well, he was there with the president too, right?
I don't think so.
No, I think you're Zach. I think you're thinking of just Kittredge.
Yeah, Kip,
Carrie Elwes, his character, is the guy who had his throat slashed in the back room where remember he was talking with Gabriel and he was like, haha, Gabriel, you can't kill me. I'm the only person who knows where this key is or where
the
this key
president.
unlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I just don't understand what he was aiming for. I guess he was trying to say, like, if you do unlock this, like, you'll work with us, I guess, or work with him in brokering, some kind of deal where
He was trying to create a dictatorship of like the
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
sounds like
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I need to I'm not faulting the film for this because I need to rewatch it because I haven't seen it since Tuesday of like how exactly that conversation went down. So I'm not going to fault the film for that. I blame myself for not fully remembering what all was going on.
Right. Yeah, I was just a little bit confused by it. It's not like a major thing. It's just like, and maybe like once I see it again, it'll make a little bit more sense. But yeah, that was the only thing I was just not 100% sure about exactly what he was trying to gain from it. And it just felt weird having both him and Kittredge there. Felt like they both had, something to gain, but I
Mhm.
wasn't exactly sure if they shared the same goals or if they had different goals and what those different goals were. I
Yeah.
wasn't quite lining up for me in that aspect.
Yeah, if I see this movie again in theaters, I'm definitely gonna go see it in Dolby because it'll be clearer voice.
Yeah.
Because I really want to go like just sit down and just watch this again. Maybe with subtitles or something.
Yeah, subtitles will help.
Yes, definitely. Subtitles always
will
help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, just diving into this, just like when Grace takes over as the White Widow and she goes to sit down with Kittredge, and like there it's revealed to us that she's meeting with Kittredge. Meanwhile, he's the person that Ethan was like, oh yeah, talk to him, he'll clear your name perfectly fine. Just tell him Ethan gave you a choice. And then all of that is just thrown out the window for a tiny bit when the whole scene happens. I'm like, wait a second, why is Kittredge here? Like, I mean, something that Mission Impossible always does, I don't understand why, is every time you have a character that you like in higher power that you think is like good, it like they're revealed to not be good, but but towards the end of the film, they're back to being revealed good.
Yeah.
Like they did it with Lawrence Fishburne, they did it with Kittredge in the first film, they're doing it with Kittredge again in this one. It's just confusing, but at the same time, I like they all have their own missions of like trying to play double agent. So like I'm not gonna fault the film for that either, because like I need to convince myself to not to stop believing that they're actually bad and they're just playing the double agent.
Well, I wonder because like we're gonna get a part two. So I think more will be revealed of Kittredge's character
Mm-hmm.
in the second one and what exactly his motivation is and what he's after. So yeah, I think they kind of left it in the air for the most part, but I mean, he doesn't sound like he's on the right side. Like at least it doesn't sound that way. Maybe that'll be revealed later. Maybe there's a piece of the story that we're missing. But yeah, it's up in the air right now with that character. Um, as far as we know, based on the end of this movie. But I do love that at the end of this, Ethan's got the key, right? And Gabriel's got a lighter. Like, and I think that's a fascinating place to end it because it's like he was so confident because he had all the answers, he had the power, and now he doesn't. So that makes me wonder where we're gonna go from here. Tom Cruise is in his 60s. He said he wants to continue doing Mission Impossible movies till he's in his 80s.
Yeah, he wants to be the next Harrison Ford.
Yeah, which would be amazing. So
personally, for me, I don't want an 80-year-old Ethan Hunt running around.
I don't know.
I don't need to see an 80-year-old Ethan Hunt running around. I
Yeah.
personally think that they're saying that about Ethan Hunt, like Tom Cruise playing Ethan Hunt until he's 80. I think they're saying that currently as a curveball. I really, honestly, truly think they're going to kill him off in Dead Reckoning Part 2.
That'll be interesting. I like me personally, I would love it if the series had a definitive ending. Hopefully before it becomes
The world of spinoffs.
not even just that, but like just before it reaches past its expiration date and it's no longer entertaining or interesting. This has been, like, in my opinion, the best long running franchise that I've ever seen. So I hope it's able to end still that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got maybe one or two weaker movies, but for the most part, you are solid all the way through. So I don't want it to get to a point where I'm like, ugh, like that really dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather you guys end on a high note, and this would be the ultimate high note. So
Yeah.
But for me, back to that train sequence. Like, all the intricacies and the conversations are crazy enough, but then we get to finally Tom Cruise confronting Gabriel on top of the train.
Not even that yet. Like, listen, I know we've mentioned this whole mountain bike jump for this entire recording. We can't just skip past that.
Right, true.
My God, dude. Like, I knew he was going to be totally fine. I knew he was going to make it on that train just based on the trailer.
Right.
Getting there was so awesome.
And the jump was sick. Like,
oh my God. Benji being like, Ethan was like, hey, I estimated the wrong turn. Benji was like, nope. Yeah, about that. You're going to have to jump.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, they leave out stuff to tell him sometimes. Like, that was hilarious. Like, when he was like, I didn't want to bother you about the nuclear bomb. And he was like, that's something you bother me about.
Yeah.
He's like, that's something you tell me.
That's hilarious. Like, and I love, like, he just says, okay, the only way to do this is actually have to go higher. It's like, I gotta go higher to jump off of this thing. And
you just see him let out the biggest sigh of his life.
The jump is sick. Like, we've all seen, like, I think they even put it in the trailer, like, his jump. And like, he goes down for a long time before he, you know what I'm saying, pulls up the parachute. But, like, when you see it in context in the movie, like, this is why, like, I think they said, like, they had to do this jump like 20 some odd times. But, like, the reason is because you get so many different angles of it. And you get to see all those, like, underneath angle, on top of them, from a wide angle. It's really, really cool because it shows you, like, how far he has to go down in each level. And just when, like, he has to release the parachute in order to safely land. So I thought they just did it. That stunt is.
Shout out to the camera.
Wow. Oh yeah. The cameramen earned their paycheck that day.
See, it's films like this in John Wick Chapter 4 that just makes you beg for the Academy to make a stunt work category. Like, best in stunts. Like, you need to make that happen. Like, we're almost at 100 years of the Oscars.
You could literally call it the Tom Reeves Award, Stunt Award. Like, I don't care. But yeah. Even though those are going to be the only guys who win it for, like, the longest time. But yeah.
Like, they need to make, like, the Emmys have a stunt category. Why can't the Oscars? Like, TV and film are both, like, they both have insane stunt actors that don't ever get like paid any attention to. And it's so unfortunate because, like, listen, Tom Cruise, I get it. He's his own stunt man. Nominate that man for a stunt. Yeah. Nominate Keanu Reeves for a stunt. Nominate the guy who got kicked down all those stairs in John Wick Chapter 4.
Nominate the guy who drove downstairs backwards as well.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the towards the end of the film, John McFord. I'm talking about the guy in Japan who gets kicked down the escalator.
Oh God, yeah.
Because that guy took a pretty bad bump.
Yeah, that dude took a nasty one. But you know what else? And I have to point this out. The thing that really impresses about this movie is it's both the script is really, really strong, but the spectacle is also really strong as well. Like we talked, like there's so many great action set pieces in this movie, and you might think that that's all this movie offers. It doesn't. Like you got a great script, strong character development, strong villain, strong antagonist, strong arc for all of these characters. The motivation is real, and like it's a part one,
And it has
right?
an ending.
No, it doesn't actually. It's
Yes,
almost
it does.
exactly the same as Across
Nope,
the Spider-Verse.
it has an
No, it
ending.
literally is. It literally
No.
is. It's
Yeah,
a
it
part
literally
one.
is, Brandon.
It's a part
Okay,
one of a
hold
part
on.
two story.
I don't
It
understand how
literally
you're
ends
saying
in the
that.
middle of the story of, oh, okay, this guy has something. The story's not finished, and we're off. Like it's literally the exact same thing.
We'll
But-
get to that in a second. We got to finish this whole train sequence first.
Yeah, like so. But on top of that, it's just the melding of the two, the melding of spectacle and storytelling that works incredibly, incredibly well. And it's the kind of thing where you're like, to me, I don't know how Tom Cruise does this. like I'm impressed every time by Tom Cruise and the movies that he chooses to be in, and just the way that he's able to find incredible stories, incredible scripts. I also should shout out Christopher McQuarrie because he's also a writer on this as well, and just the way that they're able to develop this story of Ethan Hunt and this IMF team and the challenges that they face. Fallout to me was incredible. It was so good, and especially because these guys spend that entire movie trying to stop something from happening that no one ever knows happens, and that is literally their job. And I think that's insane and that's incredible, and the lengths that they go through to achieve that is astonishing. So I loved it, but the blending of spectacle and script, I think, is one of the fascinating things that this movie does.
Oh, totally. Everything just works so well together. Like even the characters, like I know this goes part of like the screenwriting, just the chemistry. Like I mean, because it goes hand in hand with the actors. The chemistry between Ethan and Grace, Hayley Atwell and Tom Cruise, it's so good.
And it looks like she's going to be with this franchise for hopefully for a while. That's my hope, is that she'll be in the franchise for a while.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, they killed off the other love interest, so if she's not,
So let's hope that they make something out of it. I don't know. Like, I mean, I would have rather it been Ilsa, but that's just anyway. Like,
Man, so rolling back to that train sequence, just that entire top of the train between him, Gabriel, and the two CIA agents.
oh my god.
Oh God, dude, it's just so well done.
And like I realized like they had a top train fight sequence in the first Mission Impossible, and they haven't had another one since. So like this was like especially just impressive. Them having to dodge all of like the light posts that are like coming at them. Then there's the tunnel.
And then Gabriel's still trying to hit him with a knife.
Yeah, the knife fight is insane. Like then they're both hanging off the side of the train. Like it's like, dude, like it's high octane intense stuff. Like you gotta be very impressed with what they accomplished there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
100%.
yeah, and then to have Gabriel escape. Oh my god, they killed me with that. I was like, dude, y'all are ruining everything. These freaking CIA agents. I'm like, what are y'all doing, bro? Like,
Oh yeah, better luck next time, Batman.
but I'm like, if you're setting up for a part two, it makes sense. But that drove me crazy.
So basically, it ended like the same as Spider-Verse then.
Literally. But whatever. But like, then we get to the train crashing, like the blowing up of the bridge, and that is probably my favorite.
Gosh,
Yeah.
talk about anxiety watching that.
Like, yeah, dude, I was like in my seat, like, oh, like, oh man.
Oh, and the last car fell, and you're
Yeah.
like, did they just die? And they're like standing there. I was like, oh, thank God. Like,
Oh, like, I love how they did that too. Like they got everybody to the back. They're on like the first two trains, whatever. They managed to get off of that, right? And that one goes down. So they're like, okay, we're gonna go back inside. But of course, trains are still moving, so like it's eking off the side. And of course, they enter the cart where the food is. So I'm like, so I see the fryer. I was like, oh God, they're gonna die.
I mean, I saw it. I was like, okay, if this were real, their shoes would get burned off their feet, and their skin would be falling off. Like those fryers are no joke to play
dude.
around.
They're like 400, 500 degrees hot. Like it's flying out. I was like, ooh wee. I was like, I don't think they'll make it off of this one, let alone get to another.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, okay, in real life, they'd have 3rd-degree burns. Yeah.
Almost certain.
They didn't touch the fryers though, right?
No,
they didn't touch the grease at all.
No,
so
they slightly avoided it, at least according to the camera work. But like,
not really though.
But like, if it was like on their feet and they don't have the right shoes on, like they're screwed. Like, because I think the floor was not cement, but like it was like a sheetrock or something like that. And so like, if you got grease on that, like you're sliding, bro. Like there's just no getting around it. But like for the sake of the movie, they was like, look, just get them to another car. Which was also dope because then you had the piano in it, and I was like, oh dude, that was scary. Like that was scary. And just I thought they played it all so incredibly well. And then to have Paris with the save, like that was just dope. I dug it. And I think Paris is going to be a CIA agent now moving forward if she survives, which I think she does.
Oh yeah, they were like, oh, she's got a pulse. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
No, I can see it happening. I think just everybody's going to come together and try and like stop the entity. Except Gabriel. Gabriel's going to be that one guy. Did you guys see they casted Nick Offerman and Holt McCallany in part 2?
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I'm really excited for. Holt McCallany is a great actor. Like Nick Offerman is too, but Holt McCallany isn't really talking about much. He was in Mindhunter. I don't know if you've seen that, Phoenix.
I have not. I've heard good things about it though.
Yeah, he's great in that. But yeah, you guys have. Oh yeah, okay, hold on. This was not a cliffhanger ending where it just ended in the middle of a scene.
Not in the middle of a scene, but literally in the middle of a story. So pretty.
Because that's how. I mean, again, it's a part 1, part 2. But it's not like. But Spider-Verse just did it in the wrong way.
Okay.
This one actually had an ending to it.
Okay.
It's set up this story for the next one of just panning down on the submarine and like, hey, this is where we're going in the next one. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Across the Spider-Verse just ends right when he's literally about to fight Prowler Miles.
Okay.
So basically, you're saying it's like the same.
No, not at all. Like he was literally about to like throw a punch.
Or was he? We don't know.
It literally shows it.
But you don't know.
But you don't know.
Shut up. No, I'm on the side of that this actually had an ending.
It
That's
didn't
cool.
have an ending because
It did have an ending.
No, because the key is still they still don't know what happens with the key.
Part 1 was getting the keys.
Right, but just like the Spider-Verse was part 1 of
Okay, so explain. So does Infinity War have an ending?
Yeah.
yeah.
Infinity War ended with Thanos getting what he
But
wanted.
Infinity War isn't a part 1. Infinity War is a solo movie.
Actually, no. They originally called Endgame Infinity War. They originally called Endgame Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. And then they changed the name of it to give an
Because
actual
they
official
had
title.
an actual ending.
Ending.
Yeah. Like, you can't compare Infinity War to any other part 1. Infinity War is a literal movie. It's not even a part 1. It's its own movie.
That's
You-
why they
like,
changed the name.
You
yeah,
would know
so,
better on this one, Phoenix. What about Twilight? I've never seen a single
Mhm.
Twilight movie. What about Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2?
No, those are part 1 and part 2. Like,
Okay.
Breaking Dawn literally ends before the Volturi get there, and that's the heart of that story is that they have to confront the Volturi. So like, I think when you're talking about part 1s and part 2s, when you have something that is the heart of your story, right? That is the whole thing that we're getting towards. If we don't get towards that in the first film, then we are literally ending on a cliffhanger, no matter what. So like in Infinity War, the goal was to stop Thanos from getting all the stones so that he couldn't achieve his goal. He does that. That's why that's a complete movie. With Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2, the whole point is to confront the Volturi. We don't do that until the second one, so that's why that's a Part 1. With Across the Spider-Verse, actually, I won't be able to tell you exactly what that point is because until we see the next movie, but there's clearly a specific goal that they have in mind that they have not gotten to yet, and that will be revealed in Beyond the Spider-Verse. So that's why that's a part 1 and part 2. The same is true here. We have a key that we have to unlock that, and or we don't want to unlock. We have to destroy. We don't do that. So therefore, it is an incomplete story. That's what makes it a part 1 and part 2. So the
Agree to
same
disagree.
okay. But the same is true for all part 1s and part 2s. If there's a goal in mind and that goal isn't accomplished by the end of the first movie, then it's always going to end on a cliffhanger. No matter how the cliffhanger is done, that is how it's going to end. And it technically can't be a complete movie because it needs that goal to be accomplished. That's why there's part 1s and part 2s. So while I love this movie, it is technically an incomplete movie.
Agree to disagree, my friend. So,
all right.
Yeah. All right.
So
Any other last minute thoughts?
I'm good, man. I think we nailed it.
Indeed, we did.
So, Zach, what is your official rating for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1?
I gave it a 4.5. Oh, also a correction on my Spider-Verse. I actually did give that 5 stars.
Way to go, sir. All right, Brandon, where are you going?
I'm gonna have to go with easy 5 stars. Just the chemistry, the action, the stunt work, just everything worked for me in this film. And like I think I've gotten to the point where like if a film is really, really good, I'm not gonna be super critical over it. Just there's just so many movies I've watched over the past couple weeks. I'm like, okay, no, like this is an easy 5 for me. So I think this also goes up there with it. Just I'm excited for Dead Reckoning Part 2. Who knows if it's coming out next year anymore because of this whole writers and Screen Actors Guild strike. Who knows? Like there's going to be
if it's already shot, then yes, but if not,
it's almost fully filmed. According to Google, all they have left to do is principal photography. But yeah, what about you, Phoenix?
So I was settled on a 4, but there's no way I could legitimately keep this at a 4 star. It's just too good of a movie. So I'm going up to a 4.5. I think this is so far, one of the best movies we've gotten all year. This franchise has not disappointed me. It's been fantastic all the way through. So I'm a solid 4.5. I think they hit it out of the park, and I really, really can't wait to see this next part. I hope we get it soon. Like you said, I don't know, maybe it's looking up in the air, but when we get it, I think that one's probably going to be a solid 5 as well, because I think this is just excellent franchise filmmaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, alrighty, boys. That is 2 4.5 stars from Phoenix and Zach. That is a 5 for me. Without further ado, I say we move on to what's good.
What's good? What's good? What's good?
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, I most of my time has been taken up watching Mission Impossible movies, but I did get a chance to finally start something new just yesterday, and I've already binged it. My binge habits are terrible, but so there's a new series on Netflix detailing last year's football season, and it follows 3 quarterbacks: Marcus Mariota, Kirk Cousins, and Patrick Mahomes throughout the 2022 season leading up to the Super Bowl. And it's been fascinating, right? Like, I'm a big football fan, obviously. I'm also a big Chiefs fan. So like so that drew me into watching this documentary. It's really cool. I think it's only 8 episodes, but they're all about an hour long, and they follow these 3 quarterbacks and their story and their journey of the season and how it went for them. Very fascinating stuff, in-depth stuff, things that you might not know if you were just watching the games. So, but I highly recommend it. Check it out. Like I said, I've already binged it. Very compelling stuff. But that's Quarterback on Netflix for me. Zach, what about you?
So for me, I haven't watched that many movies lately. But I have been watching this one show. It's an anime. It's really, really good. And it's called Psychopaths. It's like a very futuristic, like dystopian society where like the government has eyes everywhere, and like you're judged by like the way that you take your actions and what you do. Like, but they basically like scan their bodies and can read like their mind and like, or like their emotions, and then come up with this number. And if it gets above a certain one, then they have to like put them in like mental care facilities, or like some of them, if they're like a high number, they're like, that means like they're a bad person, so they have to put that, like they have to take them out. So like it's a crazy anime, like, and it's so good. And there's like constant quotes from like actual like historical books. Like yeah, and it is like so good. It's called Psychopaths, Pass, not Path.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's on, I think it's on Crunchyroll. So
Good to know. So for me, my what's good. I have just been watching so many movies lately. Yesterday, for the first time, I watched The Nice Guys, starring Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe. That movie is freaking hilarious. I think I gave it a solid 4-star. I love that movie so much. Have you seen it, Zach?
I have not actually. I have not seen that movie.
All right. It's on Netflix. It's like less than 2 hours too. It's highly worth your time. That movie's just so funny. I think just easily the chemistry works between Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. It's just, they are just so hilarious together, and just the story that they go on is great.
As long as it's not that Free Guy humor.
It's not free guy humor. Like Phoenix can tell you, it's not free guy humor.
No, it's not free guy humor. Free
So
guy
it's not
humor is
trash
better.
humor. That's good. to know.
Free guy humor is better.
It's not trash humor. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, just this film it worked for me so much. Like there's so many times, like there were so many different lines that like randomly make me just burst out laughing. It's such a good movie.
I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's yeah,
Why did
it's
we invite
so
him
good.
in? No animals in the house, sweetheart. This movie's funny. Like it's got some great lines.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. How'd you know my name was Buddy?
Buddy. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, nice. The Nice Guys. I have so many other films.
Shane Black directed that too.
Shane Black did direct it. What else did he direct?
Shane Black's done some good stuff.
Oh, he did Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he also did a really bad movie, The Predator 2018.
Yeah.
That movie sucks.
Yeah, you can't win them all.
Yeah, you cannot win them all. But yeah, no, The Nice Guys is such a good movie. But I keep saying that. But so that is I've already forgotten the titles of you guys.
Quarterback on Netflix, Psychopaths for Zach, and Nice Guys for Brandon. Yeah. Please check those out because they all sound very interesting and entertaining. So let us know. You guys can find us on Twitter and Instagram and Threads at Film Code Pod. All right. So, oh crap, we didn't play the code.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. We'll have one next week.
We're not on next week.
Or the week after that. So we'll see you guys then. Brandon, let everybody know where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at FANTASMIC ears. Go check out what I'm watching. Man, like I've just been logging so many movies lately. I've been able to sit down and just binge so many different movies. Have just like I mentioned this on our last episode, but just like so many like blind spots of films that I just did not know I had. And like when I get ready to watch another one, I'm like, wait, I still gotta watch this one. And just so eventually I'll reach a point where I see every movie that I've been wanting to see for a while.
Awesome. All right. And Zach, where can everybody find you, sir?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zach Sneath. That is ZACHSNEATH. You guys can also find me on Letterboxd at ZSneaks. That is ZSNEAKS.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at IamHOReviews1. That's the number 1. And on Letterboxd under PA Cloudin. And as always, guys, please follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Film Code Pod. And we will see you guys next week or later. We are out of here. Peace.